So here we are at Kubota Village, and this is a ash tree that fell over after the site was cleared. You can see the soil level used to be up to the height of that retaining wall on the far side of the tree. And then they put in all those sprinklers. Let's see if we can zoom in. Yeah, they put in all those sprinklers in here to keep hundreds of other plants alive. So those hundreds of plants, let's see if we can zoom in on one of them here. I wonder why many of those plants that have died. Because, well, let's see. Maybe it's because they're planted underwater. Here's a Doug fir that's, in 3 or 4 inches of water. And of course, the City of Seattle Department of Construction and Inspection required that they do this. So, the City Hall is so intent on getting affordable housing that they make developers put in projects that are completely unrealistic. I don't know about that. So, as we're standing at the top of this 25-foot bank looking down on this clear cut on the far side, you can see there's about 33 houses over there. Only a few of them are complete and for sale. Most of them are under construction. But as we swing around, this is a 4-acre clear cut that's a $24 million project. And I'm wondering if the new city council member, Tammy Morales, knows that this 4 acres of forest is worth $24 million to the developer. And the developer will be out of here and they'll have their money. So one of the requirements that the planning department put on them is that they install this pedestrian walkway or bike path. And so we're just going to walk on the bike path right now. This comes in from 57th Street South, and let's walk it. So there's willow trees off to our left, and we come up to this. Down there is, that's 55th down there. Okay, so we must have been on 56. Sorry, and Pilgrim is the cross street, and then these are the trees that are coming down for phase 2. This phase involves these native conifer trees that are less than a foot away from the property line and might actually be on the neighbor's property line of this blue house. So there's a whole row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those conifer trees. So as we come around to our bike path, I'm just wondering how much the homeowners association dues to keep this area up is going to cost these 33 homeowners. And then, so we've got this, so this is called Kubota Village, and off in the distance behind those newly constructed houses are some 100-foot tall cottonwood trees that were just purchased by this same developer. And believe it or not, those trees cannot be considered exceptional, and all of them are coming down. So is this something that Tammy Morales really wants to do, to build 33 houses that are $660,000 each? I don't know about that. Let's just see what she says after she finds out that okay, so this is a tour that we invited her on. She's not here. That's unfortunate. But right in here, let's switch to wide angle. So now they're in wide angle, we can see that right where I'm standing will be completely blocked by more houses that are just like this, 3 stories tall. These are supposed to be 5,000 square feet, but actually the lots somehow were shrunk down to 4,000 square feet. So if Tammy could tell us why that is, we would really appreciate it. Here's a house pad that's all dug out, and they're getting ready to put the foundation in. And you can see that it's maybe at least a 25% slope, maybe even more. And then big old honking trees down there. Let's take a little break here. So as we look over, we can see that there's some issues with, on the left-hand side of this view, there was a sewer line put in and all the trees were removed, even though the building permits hadn't been put in place yet. So we're wondering about that. Here's the bike path walkway that we just came across. We just came from there, and it ends right here, and apparently this is that little bunch of sprinklers that were required to be put in here to keep these aspen trees alive. And you can see that there's water puddled at the base of the aspen trees and a whole lot of dead trees right in here. I want to get some zooming in on that. So here's the stormwater detention pond with the sprinklers going all around it, and it's not really workable because this soil grade was brought down about, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 feet right in here. This used to be a hillside 8 or 9 feet above my head, at least to the top of that retaining wall there. And as I zoom in, I'm going to come over here to these dead trees so you can see dead trees that were just planted, and it's unrealistic. You can't just put raw dirt fill in and then expect the trees to survive. A lot of the trees that aren't completely dead are turning yellow, and these are them. So there's a good chance that these trees are completely dead, and the building and construction inspection department isn't really here to check on the survivability of these, even though some of the houses already have their occupancy permits. So, off in the distance you can see trees that are probably just like the trees that used to be right here where I'm standing. However, where I'm standing is a $660,000 three-story house that is on a 4,000 square foot lot that should have been a 5,000 square foot lot according to the zoning. Now, if you can tell me how the planning department managed to finagle that, I can tell you that on this lot there's required to be 2 caliber inches of tree planted or preserved per 1,000 square feet. So if this was a 4,000 square foot lot, there would have to be at least 8 2-inch diameter trees here. Well, there aren't. I don't see any. So I would love for Tammy to have her building people explain to me how the trees got shunted off site. So even though the trees have got shunted off site to a site that has died. Okay, as we're 7 minutes into our video, we're looking back towards the bike path and up against these houses that are pretty much complete. 9708 Lindsay Place South, and here's 9712. If you had $660,000, is this where you would want to live? Here's 9718 Lindsay Avenue South. Here's 9720, the white one. Behind it is the one that says sold. I wonder what that means. So that must be one of the ones that they started first, which is 9726. And then this one where the open house is today, 9728. I went in there and I saw 3 1.5 inch diameter saplings planted, and behind it you can see the big old honkin' 100-foot cottonwoods that are coming out for Kubota Place West, I think it's called. So there you go. These buildings are 34 feet tall, and the trees are about, oh man, you know, they're actually over 100 feet, it looks like, because the trees look like they're about 3 times as high as the house, and the house is 34 feet. So there you go. There's 9730 Lindsay Place South. It's been sold. Welcome to the neighborhood. So what we want to do is file a complaint for the owners of 9732 saying that there aren't 2 inches of tree caliper per 1,000 square foot of building lot. And that complaint will be on this address forever, so that like when the people decide to sell this house, the owners, the new owners will be able to look through the history and see that it was there was a complaint filed, and that these properties were purchased from developers that avoided the ecosystem services protection in our city code. So on the left we got 9734, on the right 9736. The concrete building foundations are already in, and then we come upon a house that has already been sold. So as we look around, I'm just going to spin around. This is the access driveway off Lindsay Place. And I don't know if any of these are mother-in-law units or not, but I'll do a little 360 for you so you can see the entire site. Tammy Morales, you're the new city councilman for Southeast Seattle, and we want you to come out and give your position about protection of urban ecosystem assets in the city of Seattle. We know you've already come out in favor of building low-income housing. However, $660,000 per unit is not what we would consider low income. So we want to know, Tammy, how you're going to fix the situation. Do you think it's a good idea to bulldoze a 4-acre forest for a $24 million project? If you do, then don't do anything and just leave our tree ordinance the same. Hey, thanks. So as we come down the hill, this is where we would put in some of the information that the neighbors have. There's a house just downhill here to the right where 2 trees on the property line, or 3 trees on the property line, were cut down by the developer with 12 hours notice. And so they're now considering billing the developer for the loss of those trees. And because when you trespass to remove a tree, Washington state law says that you can get triple damages. That means that each of those trees, say they were worth $15,000 each, that means that they would owe this homeowner $45,000 plus their costs for collecting it. So here's the name of this subdivision right here. So if you want to buy unit number 22, 9680 Lindsay Place South, then this is what you get for your money. All right, we got more people buying houses coming in. This says private property, no trespassing. Let's just walk right by this sign. Notice how they have the sign across the sidewalk. Okay, so right where those foam blocks are parked by that truck on the left were 3 trees that were the ones that were removed without permission. Let's go see if we can find any evidence of the stumps. Okay, so here we are. So here's another phase. You've got 110-foot cottonwood trees, big leaf. Most of them are big leaf maples. So I can see a couple building permit violations right here. Right in here, like say for example, that pile of sand there, soil was supposed to be covered with a tarp, and looks like the rain blew it off. But these silt fences are required to be up to prevent dirt from moving on or off site, and so they're non-functional, so that's a violation of the building permit. This is supposed to be set aside here. And wow, this is a nice little bird habitat zone right in here. This is a wildlife corridor, which the city recognizes as valuable. And there's some steep sections. It's an environmentally critical area in the back because the slope exceeds 40% on the very back, right at the base of all those conifer trees. let's just crank this camera up here so our city council members and all the voters can see that these 120-foot trees are the ones that our city code protects, except when builders want to apply for a permit to bulldoze them out of here. So I think this is, boy, I can't remember, maybe 2/3 of an acre right in here, this one little patch. That's crazy. And then now here's another access point off of Lindsay Place. This is on 53rd, I believe, where those 3 bollards are. And you can see that the neighbors all have trees that used to be similar to the ones that are standing right where I am. And so that's really changed the whole urban ecology balance right in here. And then there's a big, huge trough on the right. And that trough is probably considered a rain garden. And of course, rain gardens instead of trees are not a good way to replicate urban ecosystems. So basically they're saying that this right here, that ditch replaces hundreds of trees that were removed. Wow, isn't that crazy? Okay, so we're kind of almost at the end of our tour. I just want to walk all the way out to 54th Street South 54th Street. No, excuse me. Yeah, South 54th. There we go. And I imagine this will be opened up. This will become a driveway. Shouldn't it be 20 feet wide? Yes. For two-way traffic, it's supposed to be 20 feet wide. And there, my friends, is Kubota Garden. Right at the corner of 54th and 54th and Renton Avenue South. Okay, so now we're at 54th Avenue South by Renton Avenue South, and that's your project. So just imagine all that being 3-story houses. So here's Kubota Garden on the right, and Kubota Village on the left. Let's just see if we can zoom in there a little bit. There's Kubota Village. Woo. Okay, welcome to Kubota Garden. So you can see this is a pretty much continuous 70-acre green belt here. I'm gonna have to zoom out. There you go. 20 acres of Kubota Garden, and then about 50 acres of the natural area surrounding it, going all the way up to the power line corridor up on 51st Avenue South. And it's a racetrack in here. This is a main line between the city of Tukwila and Seattle. So as we come on in, let's go up to their sign. Starting in the mid-600s. Oh, well, maybe I'm wrong. Let's call Zachary Ishimitsu. Tell him to join the interest list at KubotaVillage.com. So this is the next phase back in here. So now we're down near South Norfolk Street and Renton Avenue South. There we go. That's where we're at. So if we were to go up Norfolk, what would we see? Wow. So we are right next to this death zone. We've got Kubota Village, and then you have Kubota Village West. So this is the area that they want to build 6 more houses right here. Whew, this is steep. You know, to me that looks like it's more than 40% grade, which makes it an environmentally critical area. And it also makes it a slide zone where you could have landslides. You know, down, if you had a landslide onto Renton Avenue South, because it's a racetrack, that would be stopping a pretty major north-south corridor. So I'm not sure of the boundaries of this site here. So if I were to step out onto the hillside here, I could see that this is probably where an access road would be, maybe. I don't see how they could get away with it. So all these trees would be coming down. So this is...
What do you think, that tree needs to come down?
No, I like this tree. It's a great tree.